We are live. To our live stream audience, you get all the bugs as we get all set up here.
Hey, Stand Tall with Dave Brown and producer Rob. Rob, we've had breakfast already, trying to work on technical stuff, but Stand Tall keeps going. We very seldom, get off our schedule. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a hiccup this morning. We were on the phone, customer service with the Apple developer, as we're trying to get ready to kick off our new app in the new year. We have a new app coming out.
Yeah, it's this technical side of that kind of stuff is, I can't tell you, Rob, seriously, how much I really appreciate you, because I feel like I'm steady, I'm a hard worker, I'm good stuff. But man, when you don't know stuff, you don't know stuff. And it's so much. We're blown away at all the little hoops that end up being really tough hoops to jump through. So I think when we're on the other side of this, we'll be a lot better. I just thank you for all you time you put into this.
Well, they make it as difficult as they can.
They do. It's kind of like government. If we're gonna make it hard, we're gonna make it hard.
Yeah. But man, what a week!
Oh my gosh. I think we'll go big stuff. You brought up a couple things this morning, and then we're gonna kind of take a left turn this morning. Rob's not even gonna be ready for it yet. Maybe a side of Rob and Dave you haven't heard before. But there's a couple of big issues we have to hit first, because it's always fun to get after the big stuff. What's happening in the world. So Rob, you had one right off the bat this morning.
Well, certainly the world is shocked with the situation in Los Angeles with Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle being murdered allegedly by their son, and obviously everything in the news has been about that. But I'll tell you, it just has been really interesting to kind of follow, because it really brings into focus the struggles that people have with addiction, psychosis, things like that. But everything I've kind of read is that this young man probably was a little bit more on the entitled side. It was maybe the true Nepo baby, where mom and dad kind of came in and scooped up and made sure he got taken care of. Even the kid himself, basically said his mom and dad were helicopter parents. And again, the guy's 30-something years old now. So did the parents really help by doing all that? You give it all up for your kids, and Dave, you're a parent, I'm a parent. But wow, that just kind of shakes a lot of people to our core,
Yeah, it's something we want to explore a lot more on Stand Tall. Judy and I have talked a lot about this in episodes, because we've both, spent our careers in education and coaching. So we've been around a lot of kids, a lot of different kinds of families, a lot of different kinds of parents. And so many things come into play shaping, kids. It's, I think, Rob, the most difficult job of all time. Don't care how you slice it, it's a tough job.
Sure.
So not being a Rob Reiner friend, or even somebody who, since being meathead on All in the Family, I've really paid much attention. I know he was a talented director, though.
He did a lot. He did A Few Good Men. That's a damn good movie.
Oh man,
you can't handle the truth, Dave.
That was just on.
It's a great movie.
Top 10 all-time movies for
Rob
me.
Reiner did that. Yeah, and Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, Misery. Misery was a pretty good little movie.
Yeah,
Happy
I mean, he was a talented, producer.
Yeah, his politics kind of got in the way a little bit. His people. Well, again, California, the left coast, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of people use their star pulpit to be a bully pulpit, and not sure, really Rob Reiner could be accused of that, but he certainly was very vocal about Donald Trump and his hatred for Trump, which brought the president into the news this week when all this happened. He made a comment that he was never really a fan of Rob Reiner, and several people got all up in arms, and how dare he say that, and he maligned his memory, and Trump just kind of said it like it was. And I read back some articles and some quotes that the Reiners have made about Trump, and they're pretty incisive.
Yeah, I think we talk about this all the time on the show. People out there are getting their feelings hurt. I got my feelings hurt this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I think it's just one of those things where the thing I love about President Trump, though, he just says stuff, and it's so refreshing after at least my week, when you have people ducking and hiding behind Facebook and Signal and things like that. I just think coming out and saying it, talking to people straight up, just saying it, Nobody that I've known in my lifetime has taken more crap, more hits, more slander than Donald Trump. Um, do I wish he, would probably just not say anything at all? Is Rob Reiner really worth the effort to, talk about? Probably not. But you know, President Trump's not a politician either. He is President Trump. So, um, but boy, that kid though. I mean, to get to the point where he must have been pretty messed up to commit murder.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the details are horrifying. It was in their bedroom in the middle of the night. I mean, just terrible, terrible. And this is a kid that his father basically gave him a screenplay, gave him an opportunity to be a screenwriter. It wasn't anything he earned; it was given to him, and he just wanted to, snort it all up his nose.
Did he? I mean, did he shoot him or what happened? I don't know.
Well, stabbed him several times allegedly, and allegedly slit their throats allegedly.
Wow, it's so sad. The depths of human behavior knows no bounds, and we do see it in the movies that Rob Reiner was a big part of. And they take a lot of liberties with real stories and to fit Hollywood's version, but nobody obviously deserves to be treated the way they were. It's a very sad ending to what was a.
For me, that I'm having a hard time reconciling is obviously young men and fathers have had gone to war over the years, and it's been kind of this. But someone to put their hands on their mother, I can't understand that.
Yeah,
that's difficult for me to really reconcile. Not that I'm not saying it's okay for him to do that to Rob Reiner. Obviously, it was terrible, a terrible tragedy. But to be able to be out of your mind so much to put your hands on your mother, I mean, I just that kind of hits me really at the heart.
I just talked to a guy yesterday, Rob, who's a really good friend of mine through working out. You have those friends at the gym that you don't really ever get to go. Oh yeah, I mean, just huge, guns. But I'm getting more fit. I love going to our local swimming pool. And they got a great weight room there and a gym and everything. And so sauna. And Rob, I'm really enjoying my workouts. My back feels way better. But I got a friend down there, and he's from a different country. And we talk, and he's a great guy, super respectful. Calls me coach. And so he's not lived an easy life. He's been around the block, but super respectful. Guy is ripped fit, too. Former boxer. And so my point being is that we were talking about this last night. I said, well, we got to go get coffee or a beverage or something. But he doesn't drink anymore. He drank for a long time. And it caused him a lot of problems in his life. And he said, I'll never take another sip of whiskey or alcohol again because of all the problems it's caused him. I grew up around alcoholic parents. 3 of my 5 siblings were, heavy into alcohol and some drugs. So, I've seen the horror stories of alcohol. And like he said last night, addiction to alcohol is the worst. Because a lot of times people like my mother died in 1987 at the age of 73, and she would never admit to having a drinking problem. My dad, on the other hand, at 63 years old, in 1978, quit cold turkey and accepted Jesus, started going to church, died in 1980 of a series of strokes. But man, I tell you, it's the most impressive thing, Rob, to see him quit. It was the saddest thing to see my mom just literally die at the Newburgh Hospital. Yeah. Just drank herself to death.
Yeah, I believe it.
So cocaine, whatever, this young man was on. We see it in Portland. I was just down there, a couple weeks ago, and you see people just tweaking out on the streets, and so it's a real deal. Drugs just destroy people, and bad behavior just destroys people. So.
Yeah, but again, politics aside, our hearts go out to everybody affected by the tragedy. A lot of stars who are very good friends with them, and again, we didn't ask when Rob Reiner died, was he a Republican or was he like Charlie Kirk when he died? People were, mocking him openly and making, terrible gestures. Where you're not really seeing that from the conservative end of it. People aren't really mocking the death of Rob Reiner, and at least that gives me a little bit of hope in humanity. But I'll tell you what, if it's the other way around, I really am afraid that there'd be parades in the street.
Yeah, just the last couple of weeks I've gone down to Newburgh City Council. We've talked about this a bit, and again, the other night, right off the bat, several ladies get up to make their comments, and it was unbelievable. The first couple ladies up there using words towards the, they're trying to sound all smart with history and everything, and trying to like somehow interject Nazism and fascism into the Newburgh City Council over ICE.
Oh.
And it's like, holy smokes, are you kidding me? Those are bad terms to be thrown around. And the second lady got up to speak, and she threw my name out there. And I'm like, what? I didn't know who she was. And she was like mad that I would be allowed to speak to the city council. And it's like, we have to let people speak.
Here comes the racist, Dave Brown.
Here comes the racist, Dave Brown, yeah. Guy that grew up with nothing but black and brown people and Indian people, and my mom and dad never had a racist bone in their body. We just weren't raised that way. But I have a book. It's downstairs. I didn't bring it up. It's called Wokeness. It's from the Babylon Bee. If you want a recommendation for a fun book, go get this one. It is so spot on, Rob, with all what we've seen in Newburgh, with all the lefty woke people that have to judge you and put the signs in your yard that love is love, and they have to tell you, well, let me help you understand, and just all this attacks.
They have the moral high ground. They know better than we do.
And that comes up in the book. It's a great book. The Babylon Bee is a satire, which is meant to be an older version of comedy, but you have to have enough brains that God gave a goose to realize it's satire. And for the longest time in our life, humor is a fun thing to have in our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, we both like to laugh. Everybody likes to laugh. And I think I'm hoping that the meter for everybody is kind of running a little low on people coming to a board meeting. Because the other night, you could tell there's a lot of people in the room who are going, oh, you got to be kidding. We're doing this again. Another attack. And the thing about a city council is they have no power whatsoever to do anything with ICE. None. Like, not even like zip. But if they don't stand up there and make a speech about how they agree with these so-called protesters, then they're fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
But,
again, not even really understanding what a true fascist and a true Nazi was all about. It's just something that people seem to be throwing around very flippantly.
Yeah.
And this is the same crew that used to show up to the school board meetings. The same people. I mean, we're not talking friends. These are the same people that showed up at the school board 3 years ago and raised holy hell about not having enough gay flags in the classrooms.
No joy, too, when you see these people come off after they speak. They walk right by me, and it's just like one lady in particular, the first lady that spoke, I used to work with, and she was pretty good. She was a good ed assistant at Newbury High School. She was a happy person. She was friendly to work with and treated people nicely. That no longer is the case. She is awful to people, and she looks joyless. She looks haggard. She looks run down. And I think that's what happens when you hate for so long. It just eats you up. And it's like what happened to my mom with alcoholism and friends of mine that have gone through drugs and alcohol, Rob. It just eats you up. And no matter how you slice it, it just eats you up. Yeah. And you just start looking bad. It's like, if you don't exercise, you don't eat well, and you drink and all and stay up late, it doesn't take too long before that to kind of look back at you in the mirror.
Sure.
It really does.
Hey, Dave, I wanted to make a little bit of a lefty here.
Yeah.
And we kind of go back to last week when we had our guest, Greg Burnett,
yeah.
CEO of 1776. And you said you got some feedback. You enjoyed being on the show.
Yeah.
We love that. But I actually got a few emails from people who were really responding about, the message of Greg and getting candidates to run for conservative, school board races all across America, for, getting parents' rights back in education. Really, message really resonated with a lot of people. So we're happy to be able to bring Greg, and we're hoping to bring him back real soon. He was a great guest, and hopefully we're actually working to develop a great partnership with Greg and kind of helping him get his message out. But more on that later. But just your impressions and some of the feedback that Greg gave you.
Well, as we go through life, you always run into different people. I think, through coaching and Stand Tall, we've gotten to meet lots of different kinds of people. And, they're not all great. I'm going to speak here in a minute about some of those not so great ones. Greg was great. He was articulate. I love to meet people that are just dang smart.
And had energy and passion.
Oh, man. It's like David Diaz, holy smokes. When you meet somebody who has put the time in, he's traveled the world, he from a young person's standpoint, he's seen protest and political stuff for most of his adult life, and loved meeting him. I thought, like, wow, I'm learning by the conversation here. But at the same time, he was easy to be with just as a friend. You know, when I'm burning literally burnt the stove, the one knob on the stove is literally melted because I burnt the bacon. He's helping me get the bacon out in the backyard, doesn't burn the house down.
Yeah.
You know, he just stayed inflappable too. You know, I think that shows a lot of like who he really was. I kind of observed that when we were talking because he didn't panic. He didn't because most people, they can't handle car accidents or blood or injuries. They can't. As a coach, I know that. But he was just steady, fun, energetic, has a fun message, and has a great outlook about you know, the political arena out there. But he's not going to back off what he thinks. He's strong.
But again, he's fighting the fight, and he's on the right side of the fight. And I think that's what we want to start supporting, people who we feel like are on the right side of the fight. You know, he wants parents to have voice in their education.
Absolutely.
He wants some of the wokeness to get out of the classroom. These are same things that we feel in his organizations, and you know, just trying to find candidates to run. Again, you ran for office. It's not easy. It's not cheap.
Oh no, gosh, it's really not. And it's boy, oh boy, oh boy. No, politics is a really.
It's actually soul crushing, isn't it?
It can be. This has been a tough week. Not gonna lie. It's you know, kind of this thing. I think Greg would want to talk about this. But before we leave, Greg, thanks so much. It was like one of our highlights that, you know, starting a new venture like this, to meet somebody like you. We've met, like I said, David Diaz and Riley Gaines and Joe Altman. You know, we've had some Joe Hoff, Lars Larson, Mike Lindell.
Yeah.
We've met some
Mike
tremendous.
Lindell running for governor of Minnesota.
Yes, he is. Boy, that'd be a miracle. But you know, we've met some really great people on here, but nobody that's outdone Greg as far as just, I think, one of our best guests we've ever had.
He was definitely on point. Energy. I mean, David Diaz was right on point as well. He was great, a former football player who's very active in conservative politics right now, and great to have him on.
I mean, Greg would have to admit, David Diaz is probably just a little bit better looking than him.
Bigger.
More athletic.
Bigger. Although Greg looks like he could maybe have been a nose tackle back in the day.
Yeah, I think he'll probably like rugby. I think he's a little bit more like rugby. But I'll tell you, David Diaz was on 3 Super Bowl champions, so hey, Greg got some of that.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is going back. I know we're kind of doing a little bit of our, you know, with David Diaz, you know, former guy who won 3 Super Bowls. You know, he talked about being a coach, coaching high school teams, and really struggling, and it wasn't going as great as he wanted. And I think I'm not sure how their season went along, or even which team he went. But even people with tremendous success, they struggle.
Oh boy.
Again, he wanted so bad for these kids to start winning because he's experienced winning, and it just wasn't that easy. You've been a coach, and sometimes you want it more than the kids.
Oh, for sure. And you want it so bad, and you remember the wins for about 5 minutes, and you remember the losses for a week or two. The more you coach, the more that is a reality. I just talked to a dad the other day whose daughter's 9, plays basketball, and we're talking about that, and he kind of throws questions my way, knowing I've been around a long time coaching and being a dad. But I told him, I said, you know, the greatest thing in the world about sports, it provides you with teachable moments that you can't find anywhere else. And Rob, I've said this to you too, and I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. A teachable moment is that point in time for all of us, but especially when you're working with young people and kids, that you're going to teach them a really valuable lesson, like how to be respectful, how to make the right decision in front of other people, things like that. Teachable moments. But I will say the other thing too, that sports can provide, like David Diaz, we'll never know what it's like to walk into a locker room and win a Super Bowl. We just won't. David does. Mm-hmm. And just talking to him about it, it's exciting.
3 times over.
3 times.
Yeah. And
so the you can't go to the mall and buy a teachable moment. You can't go to the mall and buy a Super Bowl win. You can't go to the mall and buy a conference title like I've done in coaching at the high school level. All levels are important too. I think the high school level, the middle school level, the youth level is just as important as the Super Bowl, because that's where millions of people are in that league. Mm-hmm. The Super Bowl is just that's a rare air place. And so I was, think about that though. If you've never, I got a little game for us, Barrett. Now, you ready?
Okay.
Because you traveled more than I have.
But you travel across the U.S. quite a bit more than I have.
All right, let's go here for just a minute. We won't go too far. If you don't know, you don't know. The first time I saw Mount Rushmore, right underneath their chins and looked up, I was just in awe of our country? What do you got?
Oh, well, I guess for me it would be just being in Washington, D.C. and going up the Capitol steps and just being there was actually pretty impressive.
I agree. Seeing, standing there and looking down Pennsylvania Avenue, right in the middle of the road, taking a little video with Judy, Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. Unbelievable
It's
experience.
just weird about the White House. Everyone thinks it's like a house up on a hill. No, it's like packed in the middle of the city, and it's
Yeah,
if you drive by, you might miss it.
yeah. I think the other thing that was really cool was the uh, the Washington Monument. I don't like being up in the heights.
Mhm.
It's like 550 feet, and you get up there, and there's all these observation booths. You can see down Pennsylvania Avenue. You can see Lincoln's Memorial. See everything, and wow, I sat there and suffered through my anxiety of heights because I knew I'd probably never see it again. And to see it from that angle was incredibly special. Got another one.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
To you? Okay. And so it's along the lines of America's kind of theme.
Yeah.
I think actually, as a very little child, like a 4-year-old child, I remember we drove to California and then up here to Oregon to visit my relatives. And I remember going through the Sequoia National Forest. We drove a car through a tree, and I felt like that is awesome.
I've been to that spot. Yeah.
It's just that was to me something I've kept my entire life. Just driving that car through that tree. I just thought that was something else.
I again go back to Rapid City, South Dakota. Great town to go to. They got statues, bronze full life statues of every president downtown on every corner.
Really?
And it's just you're sitting there looking. There's Thomas Jefferson. You look over there, and there's Teddy Roosevelt, and then there's Edward Buchanan. It's like, that's one. But another one is drive through the Badlands when you're back there. Holy smokes! And then after you've seen Noah's Ark about 2 weeks before that, you understand how the flood receding for over a year would have created something like the Badlands, and all the different layers. So I guess my point is, guys, teachable moment. Get out there and go and see our country. We weren't planning on talking about this, but I'm telling you, and I've done 49, 30, 21, 19, and 18-day road trips around our country the last 3.5 years. And it is for a kid who never hardly got out of my hometown. I mean, literally, we did not have any money. We didn't travel. It's amazing to see the University of Notre Dame campus. And I'm not even Catholic. You are. It's a phenomenal campus. We've seen University of Kansas. We've seen Baylor University. We've seen Weber State, North Carolina Tar Heels, Duke University, University of Louisville, Indiana Wesleyan, small college, but beautiful college. We've seen Oregon State. Obviously, that's where we live out this way. Colorado State, Stanford University is amazing. Go to these places, travel, just get in the car and go. It's the right time of the year. Right now it's a little rough, but a teachable moment to me, Rob, is just that you might not ever get it back. You might not ever get it twice, but go with what Judy always says: we're not guaranteed tomorrow. The Lord tells us that, but the Lord also, we're not guaranteed to get to ever do the show again. This could be our last show. We don't know. We're not guaranteed that. And so don't waste a moment. Live life to the fullest. Take your spouse. Go get French fries if you don't have a lot of money. It's the things you do, not the pieces of jewelry or the cars you have in your garage. It's people.
Yep, exactly. And especially this time of year, week before Christmas, great time to get out of your shell and reach out to people maybe you haven't talked to in a while and reconnect.
One of the best things you ever did on all of our trips. Dead serious. We're staying in Galveston. We're at a little above our budget motel. It's right on the Gulf, and the water's very warm there. And there's a big cement sidewalk, kind of boardwalk, right across the street from the motel where the Gulf is. And so we just had this fantastic seafood dinner. Oh my gosh! Starts with a B. I'll come up with a name for it, and we'll tell you later. It's worth driving all the way to Galveston, Texas for that dinner. One of the best dinners I've ever had in my life. But when we got out of there, we're in Galveston. Glenn Campbell sang Galveston.
Okay.
So we walked across the street. I put Galveston. We're sitting on this big cement bench looking at the Gulf of Mexico, 10 o'clock at night. The sky is bright with the moon. And I put on Galveston and Judy, and they did a slow dance. And, probably 10, 20 people were all standing around clapping. That was one of the best things ever.
That's awesome.
And I like Glenn Campbell. Not my favorite, but I like him. you know, in Galveston, you know, that song. So I'd play it, but Rob will get mad at me because we've some
Well, not copyright. That has us on copyright. So for me, it was actually down in with the Maya Riviera in Mexico with my wife on her honeymoon. I finally got her to skinny dip. She's pretty
Whoa.
prudish. Got her skinny dip down in the cold. It was pretty nice.
Whoa. Wow. We're getting a little art here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a major effort.
Well, that's so funny. Yeah, I could go a couple stories on that one. No,
we'll leave that up for. We were trying to stay within the centuries.
Have fun out there, though. Again, laughter is great. People can be really difficult, especially in today's world, but people can be good. Speaking of people, though, Judy and I at Stand Tall really appreciate Rob and Paige a ton. We've all tried to be really patient and put Stand Tall together. And even though it says Stand Tall with Dave Brown, I'm a coach and I'm all about team. And it's about Rob and Judy and Paige all the way. We're all have exactly equal input and credit and blame for anything that happens. But Rob, you've been amazing this year, and I know we do a few dollars here and there, but not much. We do pancakes and bacon and sausage. Sausage was okay today.
That was good.
All right, we're gonna go back to bacon.
Well, bacon, I want the fire code. You got enough fire code for that.
So it's not, you know, often you get to just have a really good friend sit next to you, and you get to maybe give them a gift. And Rob, it's not much, but in that drawer right there, you should open it up.
Oh man, not this again. I love it. Stand Tall. Do I open it now?
Yeah, you can open it now. Yeah. All 9 yards, yeah.
Stand Tall, okay. Even addressed it on the back.
And a little note on the front. And so Rob is
Thank you for all you do. Dave, Judy, Lucy.
Yeah.
Lucy. Me and Lucy we've had loggerheads on a couple of things because she likes to knock over the equipment. She don't really have much respect for the equipment we have here.
Lucy's in a white chair in Judy's war room, which is a prayer room. Now she hears her. We're talking about her. She's coming our way. She's going to come stay it.
Please have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Love, Dave and Judy Brown. Love it. Hey, wishing you the comfort of friendship, the love of family, and the joy of laughter this Christmas and in the new year.
Lucy,
Hi. Thank you. Then there's also, looks like there's a gift card in here. Oh my goodness, for Outback? Oh, one all gift card. Ooh, I could use it. At any of these places. Ooh, Subway. Got Subway here in town. I haven't been there in a while. Taco Bell. Oh my gosh.
Outback. I love
Outback. I love Outback. That's good.
Old Navy.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Dave and Buster's. You've been to a Dave and Buster's before?
Yes, and I didn't.
You didn't like it?
No, it was okay. No,
thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas to you, man. I love doing the show, and that's why I love coming here every week. So, yep. It's not for the bacon.
Burnt the heck out of that.
So thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
You're welcome. We appreciate you. You know, again, I think, you know, going to this show, this is a perfect day for me to have Rob come over because we generally pick each other up as the show goes on. You know, it's Saturday morning. This is just the one time of the day it works, the week. And so, real quickly, I won't touch on as much as I was going to, but, you know, for the people out there in this world who still just have to attack and say negative things about, I'm pretty tough, but it still sucks.
Yeah, I heard you had a rough week, and
so it's like
you're going to tell us a little bit more about it. So, what is it? Is it Newburgh City Council, or was it the ORP stuff you're dealing with, or both?
More of like our Mill County people.
Okay.
You know, just eternal politics. People just need to understand that it's okay to have an opinion. It's how you go about it, and you know, and in politics, there's always something coming. There's always arrows flying through the space, and you know, when they're all coming your way, you're just kind of like, really, you know, is it even worth it anymore? And like this morning, so I got up and I don't do this often, Robin. Before you got here, for about 40 minutes, I'm making breakfast and cleaning the kitchen up. Judy left for her work, and I put on country Christian type songs about Jesus, like really strong. It's Chris Stapleton. Jelly Roll. I've become a big Jelly Roll fan. I really have. And I listen to a lot of really strong Jesus songs through that. Not your typical Christian-y type songs. And I really needed that this morning because I just need to center back up on Jesus and know that he's got Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, which is Jesus, and he'll make your paths straight. A couple of years ago when Steve Phillips was here, I've spent a tremendous amount of time, all volunteer, on the school board. And I just had to realize when we're praying really hard about that it was taking up a lot of my time to get anything done for Judy and me and work and stuff, was the fact that the Lord has a plan for you, Rob, me, and Amanda, Judy, our kids. And the thing about it is it's his plan. It's our path that he designed. It's our path that he put together. It's our path to get on and just do what the Lord tells us to do. And that particular day, I'm feeling pretty good after my prayer, and then boom, my day gets buried in more stuff to do. And I'm like, Lord, really, that's your answer? And that's kind of like this week. You know, you feel like you're doing pretty good, and then people just kind of start, you know, it's like when you have those weeks where you burn the bacon and you have a flat tire and then your fence blows over and, you know, 10 other things go wrong. You pull a glass plate out of the oven and it just explodes. What's that happen? You know, then you start getting phone calls, negative phone calls from people. And it's like, really? Okay, is this my path? And stuff. And so, Rob, thanks for coming over tomorrow because you helped, you know, kind of center me back up. But I think guys, we need to do that more for other guys. It helps a lot. That everybody reach out, find somebody. You'd be surprised. I was going to ask you at Christmas time.
Sure.
For me, growing up with alcoholic parents, Christmas and Thanksgiving was always a heavy drinking time.
Sure.
And so I didn't like holidays because there were so many bad memories.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, what do you think, Rob, about all the people out there that we all put on a show? You know, we do the show, we do this podcast, but as soon as the camera goes off, we don't know what's really happening to people's lives. There's a lot of people out there hurting. You were here Saturday night for our open house, and there were several people here that told us they never get invited to anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like people aren't doing these parties anymore. I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate it, enjoyed coming over. But again, you know, as a guy who's been divorced and had rough times, Christmas has not always been great.
No.
You know what I mean? It's actually been the most stressful, most sad time, most depressing time of my life for many years in a row. So I don't want to be like buzzkill and bring everybody else down and, you know, be like, oh, well, you shouldn't be celebrating Christmas. No, I respect it. But if I'm not as into it as other people is, because I've got some memories of some things that, you know, just with kids and, you know, broken plans and being alone on Christmas and not having any place to go to. Like, I've been there, so I get it. I get that it's not maybe all happy.
No.
But, you know, the thing is I got through it. You know, you always get through it.
How did you get through it?
Well, you know, I would, number one, I just impress myself upon people and say, hey, you mind if I come over on Christmas? I don't have any place to go. And,
that's awesome.
And almost every time people say, sure, come over. Sometimes they'd have a gift. Sometimes they'd just be a plate of cookies for me. Or sometimes it'd just be, you know, a re-gifted bottle of liquor they got or something. But I always appreciate it and would remember those folks quite a bit. And so I remember the days when the kids were on, you know, alternate years and I was alone and didn't have any money and was broke. And, you know, I had people who support system that opened themselves up. Again, not always my family. You know, I love my family, but it wasn't always them. Sometimes it was just with friends and with people who you wouldn't necessarily even expect to be open. But again, you know, they love it. Having someone over, an actual person to come play Monopoly with, the next person to play video games with, you know, to just sit and hang out with. You know, a lot of people really like that. So impress yourself upon people. Don't be afraid to. The worst they can do is say, no,
Great
you, big chance you're coming to my party. And that would be pretty heartbreaking.
That is great advice. Honestly, you guys, I mean,
call someone up.
And you'll probably go for 10 before you get somebody to pick up. I've been there too.
What you could do, here's the perfect play. So you know what, Dave, I'm going to come by just for maybe like 10 minutes. I got a little gift for the family, maybe get some cookies or buy a little tin of cookies or something. I'm just going to stay for about 10 minutes and I guarantee you'll be there for 3 or 4 hours.
That is true.
That's the play.
That's the play. And that's a good play because I think sometimes the giving part of this whole thing is way more important than the receiving part. But what you're saying, like right there, is, you know, we all need to, people are just the best gift. a conversation with somebody is so amazing. It's the best gift. I mean, yeah, it's nice to open up something and get something. I'm not gonna, kid you. I like that too, but I'd much rather have somebody just knock on our door and do what you just said. It's so cool. Judy and I love it when people drop in,
Mhm.
and we've gotten pretty bold about just dropping in.
I'd recommend calling first. Calling them, making sure they're not in their underwear, not sure they got some freaky Christmas tradition or something they do. I don't know.
Okay, true story. Some friend of ours lost their son in a brutal car accident, and he was on my team, and they've become some of our best friends in the whole world. Love him to pieces. I'm leaving out names. And Judy and I heard at that time, just a long time ago, that after 2 weeks, the phone calls stopped, the food stops, the phone calls stopped. People just stopped coming over after the funeral, the memorial. And we go, we're not going to do that. We're just not going to be, no, we're not going to forget this. And so I was about 13 days into this thing, and we'd heard this, Rob. And so we got in our MG, we just got it, we just had it. And we headed out to, it might have been like 3 weeks into this.
Mhm.
Yeah, about 3 weeks into this. So anyway, we end up driving over to these people's house. They have a very tight schedule, and there were still 2 kids left. They were older kids in high school and stuff. And we just decided to go out there with dessert. And they're not the kind of people you drop in on. You call ahead, you make plans. So I called from the car and said, we'll be there in like 20 minutes. Well, why? When? I said, tonight. Well, we're having dinner, and that's just how they are. They have a very tight schedule. Judy and I are just the opposite. And we've eaten a lot of cold dinners just because people come over. But we pull out from their house and we're watching them eat dinner. And there's 4 of them that are not talking at all. They've gone through the worst thing in their entire lifetimes. And we aren't going to go in there and try to tell them how to feel better because we don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in our car, tops down, nice night. And I called up and said, well, we're almost there. Well, we're still having dinner. Okay, hung up. Walked across the street, knocked on the window. The girl spilled her water all over the table. Mm-hmm. And a year later, we're at the beach with these people, just 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30 at night. And the guy, who's a very smart man, he's not an emotional man much. He looks at us with 2 tears and said, that was the best night ever. Because you guys just absolutely stopped the monotony of silence. And we didn't talk to them at all about their son much, at all. We let them, if they brought to bring it up. There were tears, there was laughter, there was ice cream. It was about an hour and a half, and we left. And then a year later, he says, thank you so much. We needed that so much. So if you're going to hesitate, don't hesitate. Go.
Yeah. You're persistent, too. You weren't going to take no for an answer.
No. Unfortunately, we had enough relationship through sports where we felt like we could do it. Now, could that have backfired? Sure. Could have. But it didn't. It ended up really kind of putting the kindling on a fantastic friendship that exists to this day. And no matter how long it's been since you talk to somebody, call them up. That's the kind of cool thing. I mean, there are some good things about Facebook. Just say hi. Just say, hey, how you doing? I think people are the best. So
sure. Well, Dave, I know a couple things I want to be. Every show we remind people where to find us. We're on Apple Podcasts, which you can get through Apple CarPlay. We're on Spotify, and I think after the first year, you might be able to find us on the church app, where we'll be having all of our shows, all of our podcasts listed on the app as well as the website. So look for a lot of energy to go through on that end of it. But again, Apple Podcasts, and tell your friends. Yep. You know what? We might say something that they find interesting. We might say something that really enrages them. Tell your friends. Again, we're all about discussion. We love to have people on. We love to get comments from folks. We love to get feedback. So again, just like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It just helps us out quite a bit. Again, we've been trying to grow the show. It's been going really great. We appreciate those who support us. I know, Dave, you run into people all the time who say they hear the show.
Yeah, last couple of weeks there's stuff that's up. Greg Burnett's episode's up. We just had pro pickleballer Wes Gabrielson on the show for a 2-hour podcast. That's on there. Those are just the last couple that we've done. And so We're hoping to have. I can imagine, Robert, we're going to be averaging at least 2 guests per week on some of our stuff.
Yep.
I think the one thing that people I appreciate their feedback is they really get a kick out of our category of education, politics, Jesus, sports, and people, because they're kind of going, oh, okay, politics, sure, everybody's talking about politics. Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Everybody goes to church, and we go to different churches. Some people like sports, some people don't. The people stories are my favorite because they cover everything. And then we'll finish today with politics, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna we like to go rapid fire on this. So 1 word response to 1 sentence.
There we go.
If you come up with a topic, you can throw it out too, but I'll feed until you decide to throw in a person. So we're talking about people. We're talking about the diversity of people. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Just 1 word or 1 sentence. Trump. President Trump.
Respected. Internationally respected.
I would say just, yes, he's different, but he's effective.
Effective. Okay. Here's what I got one for you. Epstein files. They just got released and doesn't look good for Bill Clinton.
I saw a little bit of that.
Wow.
I just don't care. I think they're all a bunch of weirdos who got off on sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I just have paid very little attention to it, and it's just finger pointing. So yeah, I don't care.
Well, it just was reported to be the smoking gun, and it actually was a smoking gun against Bill Clinton. It seemed to be. So not as much Donald Trump, but some of these other people. Now, it was heavily redacted. There were a lot of pages that had been just blank pictures. Again, nobody knows what's going on, but I'll tell you what, it just didn't look good for the former president.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy was a goof. I think he was pretty effective as a president. Last one had a balanced budget.
Did you see his wife?
Oh gosh, I'm just horrified to be. I don't try to think about her at all.
Well, not saying that's excuse.
One of the worst people in Washington D.C. in the history of our country. I'd put her up. There was LBJ. I mean, she's yeah. But I would say Clinton's always been a train wreck. He's been a womanizer from the get-go. I mean, so none of that surprises me.
Mm-hmm. But again, I think they were going after what they were going after didn't really materialize.
Right.
As of right now. So.
Right.
You got another one for me?
Yeah, I do. I think when we're looking back at about some of this stuff going on. We're still in the controversy of baseball and who gets in the hall and who doesn't get out of the hall. And there's just some people. You brought him up the other day. It was oh my gosh, I'm just blanking right now. Who's still not in the hall? Dale Murphy.
Oh,
I've been thinking about this all week.
That guy's a great player.
Man, I'm just blown away though at the people on that committee that Dale Murphy should have been in the hall. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Dale Murphy, I hope you're listening.
He'll get in. I think he'll get in.
Okay.
Because when you look at his numbers, are comparable to people who are in. So I'm hoping that'll get corrected.
So Alabama football.
Yep.
So.
So they won last night.
Yep.
Who they beat?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still liking the Ducks, and everybody likes that Indiana team.
I think a lot of these teams. I think Ohio State could win it. Texas A&M is good. It's gonna be a tough one.
Oregon's playing James Madison.
James Madison and Tulane have to play really well to justify this current playoff format.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's going to be another massive controversy of why they let them in, and why didn't we let Notre Dame and University of Miami in. It's going to go back to the big schools, and it's a real problem.
Yep.
So, all right. Next person up on my list I want to talk about is when you go back in history, what do you think of LBJ?
I didn't know much about him, but the more I learn about him, the more I feel like he's maybe a shady character.
Yeah.
A lot of shade there.
I honestly think he was part of the whole JFK assassination.
I know he was just raw as hell. Like he would just say things that were just rude.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care, and he would have cabinet meetings when he was sitting on the toilet. You ever heard about that?
No.
Yeah, he would be in the toilet and he would be meeting with his cabinet.
No.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Look it up. It's in the books.
Okay. LeBron James.
I liked him a lot better when he was a teenage phenom.
Okay. I don't know if it's being like AI or what, but there's so much on Instagram about all his flopping and stuff, and I've seen it when I've been watching a little bit of NBA. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, he acts like it's just embarrassing. It's like a little spoiled kid out there. I mean, unbelievable. Let's stop there for a second. I want to get back to this kid thing about how people just were
Rob Reiner, the Reiner.
the son. If you're out there as a parent, toughest job in the world, not easy to do. I would, minus a suggestion to everybody out there, 'cause I've had to do it, Rob, and I'm sure you're right in the middle of it right now. Is you have to take a teachable moment, but you have to put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
And you can't just you can't throw money at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, way more important than that is time with the child. Go hiking, go play catch, go for a road trip with your kid for even a couple hours. You know, go get a pancake somewhere. But I'd say another big thing, jump in here anytime. Get them off their social media. Get
them off the video games too.
Oh my Lord! Get them away. Get them away. Get them away. Go do active stuff. What do you got?
Well, I agree with you on the video games, but I'm going to take a turn here. And I remember back in early September, the week before, I think it was like Labor Day.
Okay.
High hopes for your Vikings.
Oh, mercy.
And then crash and burn.
Crash
what
and
happened,
burn.
Dave?
I didn't wear my jerseys enough. It was cold in Minnesota.
J.J. McCarthy was terrible.
Jay McCarthy's very average. We do. That's what you do when you have a 14-3 year. You trade your All-Pro quarterback, which is the guy that landed in Seattle, to lead them to one of the best.
Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Sam Darnold has an
They
All-Pro
win the other
year.
night.
Has a great year in Minnesota, but no, we're not going to keep him because he's old at like 33. We're going to get rid of him, and we're going to bring in a rookie in his second year who missed his whole first year because of an knee injury. And I'm sure McCarthy's a great kid. I'm sure he's a great kid. But he hadn't been proven yet, and we know that the NFL quarterback position is the most difficult in all of pro sports to master. And he's had a very average year, and Minnesota's had a bad year.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you a name, Shedeur Sanders.
This is one that's curious. I got to do a little bit more reading on this kid because I'm surprised that he's as much of a dick as everybody says. And I don't know if it's true.
Have you met his father?
Huh?
Have you met his father?
No, I haven't. I thought Deion Sanders is honestly probably one of the top 10 football players of all time. He was an incredible player, and he can play baseball.
Yeah.
But we all know that pro athletes aren't always. That doesn't guarantee you to be a nice guy. But Shedeur,
he does follow Christ. He's a Christ believer.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that guy can play football, offense, defense, didn't matter where you put him. But Shedeur, I'm sure, is a very spoiled young man. I'm sure he's talented enough to get to the NFL. I just can't have a hard time believing he's as bad as all these accounts say.
Well, he beat out our boy Dylan Gabriel. I guess Gabriel got hurt.
Gabriel got hurt. He didn't get beat out. I wasn't that impressed with Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel. Yeah.
Gabriel. I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was great. I didn't think Shedeur Sanders was great at Colorado. I thought he was good.
I do. One thing about living here in Oregon, I do realize that the University of Oregon, they really like to hype their quarterbacks.
Yes, they do.
Everyone is better than the previous.
Yes, they do.
And of course, Bo Nix playing really well for the Denver Broncos.
And Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert,
Chargers.
for the Chargers, exactly. But these new guys are way better than these old guys. I don't see it.
No, they're not. They're not better. And let's go back to, how old are you? Let's go back to Dan Fouts.
Oh man,
Dan Fouts in the 70s.
I was talking to a young guy at work about. Do you remember the game when Dan Fouts went against Dan Marino?
Oh boy.
It was the Chargers against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Kellen Winslow did to carry him off the field, and Dan Fouts, I think they won 48-42 or something. It was one of the most classic games of my life. I think it was around Christmas. I think it might have been.
Two of the greatest arms in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Dan Fouts might have an argument for being the best Oregon quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I forgot he was the Oregon. That's right. Yeah.
And there was another guy before that. Was a small name. Wasn't Ben Brockman an Oregon Duck?
No, Ben Brockman. I don't remember
know that one for
history
sure.
of that.
But
again, if you just ask anyone from the University of Oregon, they'll let you know for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They like talking about that.
They've had Joey Harrington.
Yeah.
And Harrington's a quality dude too. Chris Miller played NFL for the Atlanta
Yeah.
Falcons for years.
Played for the Rams for a while.
Marcus Mariota won the Heisman. But you know, when you're comparing teams like right now, I'm still thinking, do they play this weekend or the Rams and the Seahawks?
They played last night.
What
Or
score?
two nights ago.
What score?
Oh, the Seahawks won in the thriller overtime.
They did.
Yeah, really weird 2-point conversion. Hit off the player's helmet and went. So get this. So the Seattle quarterback Darnold takes a snap and he makes kind of like a lateral behind him. Well, the defender kind of reaches up and it bounces off his helmet and it goes into the end zone. And everyone thinks it's a dead ball, except one of the players picks up the ball and actually becomes the 2-point conversion.
Really?
Yeah, because I guess the pass was from behind the line of scrimmage, so it was actually a live ball.
Really?
So they scored 2 points on it, yeah. So,
Okay. So I had it right here. I had something I wanted to show everybody. Hold on. I have a Seahawks stadium thing.
the 12th man,
I'm not playing the music because Rob will get mad at me, but it's Stand Tall with Dave Brown on the screen. I made this. And then some friends were at the last Seahawks game. 22, Dave Brown played 76 to 86 for the Seattle Seahawks. He was a defensive back. He was a very good player. Dave Brown, I hope you're hearing this. We have the same name. He was a stud, and he was a very popular Seahawks.
So wait a minute. I could get rid of you, hire the real Dave Brown, and our show would go off the charts.
It would go way up.
NFL Seahawks Hall of Famer?
Seahawks.
Well, versus a Newburgh Gymnasium, Friends Park, blacktop, basketball
Old guy.
all-star.
Old guy.
Where did you guys play basketball when as a kid?
Here in town? Oh, good call. First place would have been on River Street,
Yeah.
right down there where they have a little park and they have a maintenance shed. And
Oh yeah, Herbert Hoover Park right next to
And
it.
then down at Old Rennie, which is gone now, there was a little sloped hoop we played a lot on, a little short court we played a ton there. And if you had private access to Brown's Funeral Home, which was on College and Illinois,
Mhm.
not Illinois,
You could play basketball with the courts.
they had heads all the way around it. They had heads all the way, a private hoop, single hoop. That was where the best basketball in our town was.
So where'd you go for competition?
There, Brown's Funeral Home.
Really? So
My
if you
neighbor
made it there,
Steve
you
Huntley-
were. If you made it there, you were the real deal.
Yeah, Steve Huntley got me to, one day he pulls his bike and I'm 12, and they were all about 15 to 18.
Mhm.
And I played, none of my friends were very good. They were mostly wrestlers. And so Steve pulls this really cool orange banana seat bicycle into my driveway, and it's got a leopard skin seat. Coolest Stingray ever. And he
Nice.
goes, all right, which meant you can play basketball with us. And they needed an extra guy. They just needed an eighth guy, and I was a scrub. And so I run out, Mom, I'm going to go get to play basketball at Brown's Funeral Home. That was no relation, by the way.
Yeah.
And it really was a funeral home. And so I get in there, and nobody talks to me. The first thing I see is a guy named Randy, and he's got a little leather headband, smoking some weed. A couple other guys got Stan Hine. He had a bottle of 26-ounce Bohemian beer. It was like, this is 1969, so we're getting a little bit of the hippie area going on. And so after a while, nobody talked to me at all. Nobody said, but I knew who they were. They knew who I was because of my sister.
Mhm.
And so my sister was, just a little bit older than they were. So anyway, I get out there and I go to the basket, when we start playing. And I just get hammered, foul. And so I call foul. Oh, man, I'm telling you what. They ripped on my mom, my sister. They called everybody names, Mother Teresa names.
Wow.
And I can't fight back because I'm 12 and they're way older than I would just get smoked. And I had to sit there and put up with that. And so, I'm not even kidding, through my entire life, moving forward, I never called a foul again. Ever called a foul again because I got ridiculed so bad. But the thing that helped me is it toughened me up to the point where I'd play against other people I didn't know and they'd try to come in and play physical. I didn't care.
And I read or saw a little video from your man Paul Pierce from the old the Celtics.
Yeah.
He used to talk about, I guess in LA, they have the UCLA pickup games where all these pro players will go. And Magic Johnson was basically in charge of it. So they started playing, and his team, they're pushing Johnson. They're pushing Johnson.
Yeah.
You probably heard the story.
A little bit.
They get to the end of the game, and Pierce's team gets the ball. They get a steal, go down, score the winning bucket. Game's over. Oh no, Magic! No, bring it back. That was a foul. He calls the foul. He's like, well, you're not going to stand up to Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
You're going, okay. So of course Magic Johnson takes the ball and dribbles, boom, puts up the shot, they win the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was known to call that foul on
Yeah.
that last play. Magic.
Yeah.
And
You
Magic
know.
was laughing about it. He was on the show just laughing about it.
You know, I hated Magic at first because he beat my Larry Bird Indiana State team. You know, he had all the success in the '80 finals against I think like the Sixers who they played. But you know, I learned to really become a Magic fan throughout his career.
Mhm.
But I was a huge Larry Bird fan, and but I will give them both equal credit as to not saving the NBA, but they turned it into a global franchise. They were the straw that stirred the drink. Not Michael Jordan. It was Magic and Larry Bird. Michael just took it to another level, which only he could have.
Sure.
But he did it as an individual for a long time, not as a team. The Bulls didn't start winning until the '90s. And Michael would be the first one to tell you that. It was Larry and Magic. He gives him a lot of credit for that.
Sure.
So when I'm talking about our all-time great players, I have to go by position as a coach. I can't just say center or guard. And I'm going Chamberlain's my center, Magic's my guard along with Jordan, and Larry Bird and Bill Russell are my forwards. You'd never lose a game with that lineup.
Wow.
That's just the 5 best players of all time.
Go on.
Your second 5 though would be probably Shaq at center. You probably have Tim
Shaq
Duncan
over
at power
Kareem.
forward, Kobe
Shaq.
Bryant at the guard.
You take Shaq over Kareem.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Tough to do, but I would.
Yeah.
I would. Again, depending on what kind of ball you want to play.
Sure.
And Kareem was very, very, very. I mean, second team, third team. You could put either Shaq or Kareem on the first team and take Chamberlain out and you make a good argument. I will say though, you have to be very careful comparing eras. When you go back, I saw something on Instagram about old '50s basketball, and they played some dork video, like some guy shooting really funky from the free throw line. Those guys could flat out play. I saw stuff in the '60s, and don't tell me what I didn't see. Was there as many good players then? No. Were they twice tall? Maybe as fast? Maybe not. But I will tell you that they could flat out play. Jerry West in the '60s was as good as any of your guards today. But you watch guards today, they carry the ball. If Jerry could have carried the ball like they do now and ran 3 or 4 steps without having to dribble, come on. So I call today's NBA the wuss NBA. LeBron spent the last 10, 12 years padding his stats with no defense. Nobody bothers him, bugs him. He just gets to go in and dunk. The NBA really needs to take a long, hard mirror and say, let's go back to just playing straight up, solid basketball.
Well, Dave, we're getting here towards the end of the show. I was looking at this calendar here. I didn't realize the first day of winter is coming up on tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So we're officially in the winter, wrapping up the year, got Christmas. What's your Christmas message to any of our viewers or listeners? Anything you want to say kind of to wrap up the year and inspire them for the new year?
I would like to. I appreciate that question a lot. I just wanted to give everybody the chance to say, look at this, Rob.
Snow?
We have a chance of, no, they took out the snow showers now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no fan of the snow. Okay, growing up in the Midwest, the snow's not a...
It's not pulling up right
Not your friend.
Christmas Day, yeah, they've taken the snow out, just rainier. I would say, honestly, I've seen a few cracks in the spirit of people in a good way. I think people are starting to come out of the COVID hibernation of not talking to people. I think I've seen a little bit more like people are like finding a joy in certain things. If you don't have joy and you don't have happiness, what do you have? If it's just politics, I mean, we talk about politics. We're trying to build a show as one of our 5 main pillars. But man, we got to get back to some of the fun stuff in this world. And for all you people out there that are hitting hard at your politics type stuff, or if you're on the receiving end of negativism, I spent all weekend that. It sucks. Just start going out and having fun. No, Judy watched the grandkids last night. 2 nights before that, we went out to dinner twice. I said, let's just go. We went to a really nice restaurant, and then we went to the Gym 100, which is great food, by the way. It's a local malt shop. And we just had, a really light dinner, and we just talked, and So my goal coming into 2026, Rob, is I want to be more intentional about being around friends. I've unfortunately had to learn a lot about people that aren't that trusting this year, who, whether they like me or not, I don't know. When you get involved in politics, though, and I'm the Yamaha County Chair and the Oregon Republican Party Vice Chair, people are going to take shots at you. And it still sucks. I wish people would just at least call up and just have a conversation. If they don't like me, I can't do anything about that. But go out and find some fun stuff to do. You know, and I don't care where you live, you can find something, and you can do stuff differently. So I'm going to leave you with this. From a childhood memory, Judy and I aren't rich. We have spent a lot of money on lawsuits and medical bills this year, but we are going to really try hard to be intentional with our friends. We're going to try to have more fun than we've ever had, and because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I would just say to you that for this Christmas, Judy and I basically have all the little things we need. And so I said, let's go back to when I was 11 and do that Christmas. And she knows the story. And so we're going to give each other 5 gifts this Christmas. But those gifts are going to be just stuff laying around the house. And one of mine will probably be that little trophy right over there.
Why don't you tell the story real quick? We got a couple minutes.
Sure.
When you were 11 years old. Yeah.
I'm 11 years old. My dad had been through a massive accident, 53 days in Newburgh Hospital. He was hit by a four-wheel drive truck at 55 miles an hour. It saved my mom's life. She broke her hip when he threw her about 15 feet into a curve. Truck hits him. And he was a big man. That's the reason he survived. It broke both his legs, his pelvis, his shoulder, his arm. He was in really bad shape, and it aged him a ton. And so he passed away when I was 23, so 11 years before that. He was 52 when that happened. So we get to Christmas, we got no money. And we were always broke. We were broke. And I hope some people out there understand broke. Broke means you don't have any money. You're paying all your bills on time pay. You're barely squeaking through on bread and milk just to add to your food.
You have a boiled potato for dinner.
Yeah, pancake potato. Yeah, a lot of potatoes. And as a parents, your parents don't have milk. They let it for the kids. You know, you sacrifice everything. And so that's what kind of Christmas it is. We have no gifts under the tree. And in my neighborhood, we had about 20 boys, and it was a big neighborhood. And there was tons of peer pressure. Football, basketball, everything we played was a contest and a race. And so the deal about it, you guys, is I had no presents on the tree. Mm-hmm. I'm panicking. It's like 3 days before Christmas. So
which is a huge thing. That word gets out in the street, you're done.
Oh, I was done because they were looking through the window at the house and they're going, Dave, you got no presents on your tree. You guys are just a bunch of poor people. That's literally how, and it was way worse than that. And, boys can be mean. Yeah. And we were mean, all of us, to each other. And so I panicked. I didn't know what to do. And I'm looking around and we had a lot of wrapping paper. And so I started wrapping anything and everything, rocks, old boots, books, old jars, old tools. So I wrapped 50 because I had to win this contest. I got an ego. I'm being self-centered here. And so I do. I win the whole contest for the neighborhood. I got 50 gifts underneath the tree and all them. I told everybody, I kept telling them, Santa's coming, Santa's coming, Santa's coming. Oh, come on now, Santa's coming. Come on, you guys. And so then I wrapped all this stuff. Well, I didn't realize at 11 that there'll be a consequence to this. So I think Christmas that year was on a Saturday or Sunday. And so my mom and dad wouldn't have started drinking until probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So the morning they were going to be fine, and they made up. I think my mom made waffles or something and a special breakfast for a change. No meat, just waffles. And so we finally sit down and open presents. I got 2 sisters. They're about 16 and 17. So we had a couple presents from the fire department. Each of us kids. Mom and dad did not. And so we sit down and everybody's like, look at all these presents. And so the first present's going to go to my mom. And so I hand her the present, very heavy. It was a rock. My mom looks up and she just goes, now she grew up hard working in Canada. She was a Rosie River in World War II, grew up on a big farm. She cooked in the Alpenrose Dairy. She was a tough woman. 5'3" hockey player from Bentley, Alberta. And she opened up a rock and she looks at it and she goes, well, this is a nice rock. And so nobody knows what to say. Nobody really knows what to do. We're all kind of looking at it. And She goes, I like this rock. This is really good. She was playing along with it.
Mhm.
So my dad's next. My dad's 6'3.5", big guy, and again he'd been hurt really bad, so he's pretty stoved up. And he opens up a pair of cork boots, and my mom had put hens and chickens in. Hens and chickens are like a plant,
Mhm.
and my mom planted every hens and chickens and everything that wasn't moving. And then she painted them all green. Well, my dad opens it up, and cork boots are what loggers wore back in the old days to have traction, kind of like a golf shoe. Well, my dad looks at it and he goes, "What the hell is this?" And by the time we're done, my dad, when he laughed, he'd tear up. He's laughing, he's teared up. My mom, we're all just cracking up laughing. So we go through all the presents. It takes like 2.5 hours. And we're a one family at a time. I'm big on that. And we just don't shred all the presents at the same time. So we laughed for 2.5 hours, Rob. It was the greatest Christmas of my life. It was the greatest, funnest, most laughing time I'd ever had with my home family before I moved out. And it was just amazing, the humor and the tears and the laughter. And it had nothing to do with Target or Nordstrom's or anything like that. It had everything to do with just opening up a present and what it meant at that time. And then we talk about a rock like it was something special. We weren't being weird. It's just what it was. But instead of 20 minutes and all the presents are done and then you move on to your day, almost 2.5 hours we sat there and laughed as a family. It was the greatest 2.5 hours of my childhood with my mom and dad and my sisters. By far, not even close.
It's a great story.
So
It's a
yeah.
great story to end us with. That's a great story to end. I wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thank you for your support on the show, and thank you for that great story, David. And thank you for the gifts, man.
Well, it's not about what you give them, it's about just tell them you love them. So just stand tall with might be our last show before the new year. We'll probably get one more in after. We'll do a little post-Christmas probably show maybe.
The 27th, possibly.
Possibly. If we don't see you, Merry Christmas. And we'll see you after the first year. We have a lot of big surprises. Our big surprise would be getting to know you better and having you on the show. So with that, stand tall. Peace out. Where'd you go, Luce? Where'd you go, Luce? How's your head?
Yep. Here.